Hello, guys. Am I audible? પપ્પા હવે મારે ચાલુ થઈ ગયો હો. ચાલુ થઈ ગયું મારે. પણ હવે વાત નહીં કરી શકું એમ. Hello, guys. Am I audible? Can somebody acknowledge me? Let's just wait for a few minutes to others to join. So let's make this, free time productive. Do you have any doubts from previous session? I can, solve. If you want to ask anything, I'm here. Okay, thank you, Jay, for the acknowledgement. Hoping you all are safe at your home. Okay, we will be starting in a few minutes. કંઈક કરીશ પછી ભર્યો ને ત્યારે તો જોઈ જશે. બધો અત્યારના તો ચાલુ હોય, ત્યાંના પતે પછી Okay, so respecting the participants who have joined on time, we will be starting. Okay, so hello guys, this is Pranav Bujda. I welcome you all to the third day of the ASC Bootcamp. No AWS all. I hope you all had learned something during our previous session. Without taking much time, let's start with today's session. Okay, so today we'll be learning what, why, and how of EC2, ELB, autoscaling, and elastic block store, that is EBS. Before we start, I have to make few points clear about some of the billing and free tier usage. Okay, so I hope you all have a AWS account with you, working account with you right now, because we will be using it for the hands-on part. Okay, so and I hope you are familiar with AWS Billing. Let me show you some of the things about AWS Billing where you can check your bill and your account usage, so that you don't get uh, oh, bills, so that you don't run your unwanted resources. So this, okay, let me show you from the start. Okay, your billing dashboard will be available from here. You can go and see your billing dashboard. I hope my screen is visible. If you have any uh, yeah, difficulty in my screen, please let me know. Okay, so from your billing dashboard, you can go to bills, where you can find the monthly bill, and you will get the detailed overview of the resource you have used and the cost, how much did it cost. Okay, so uh, so make sure you don't keep your resources running. It will gonna cost you a few dollars. So uh, make sure delete your resources after this session gets over. Okay, so let me share a few details about AWS free usage tier. So AWS free usage tier will be applicable if you are new to AWS. It will be applicable for 1 year, in which you will get 750 hours of EC2 usage and some of the S3 bucket usage. But I am not going to tell you the whole thing. You can go to this aws.amazon.com/free. You will get all the details about AWS free tier usage. So let's start with today's session. Okay, so we will be starting with EC2. So according to me, EC2 is nothing but a computer that is virtually situated in Amazon data centers. So in plain English, we can see EC2 is a Amazon virtual server. Okay, so you can compare the EC2 to your laptop or your desktop. It is nothing more than that. It is just a PC with uh, hard disk, a RAM, and the operating system, all of that. But it will be created and deployed by the AWS, and you can access it, and you will be charging for the time you use it. Like, it is like renting a computer. EC2 is nothing but a renting a computer. Uh, so and EC2 is the most popular service of AWS. So for anything, you will be using anything which is related, in which you will require some computation to be done. Like, if you are hosting a database server, then you will require some computation power to query your database and all that. So that's where you will use EC2. Anything that requires computation, you can use EC2 for that. So let's get started. So here are the few EC2 terminology which you can relate to the your desktop computer. So EC2 instance, that is your machine, that is your, you can consider it is your server, your computer, anything you want. AMI, that is Amazon Machine Image. It can be considered as your operating system of the instance. Okay, yeah. Whenever I use instance, you should understand that is the virtual machine I'm talking about. Okay, which will be deployed on AWS data centers. Instance type will be the hardware specification of your instance, like CPU, RAM, and all these storage like hard disk and all, like GPU and all kind of stuff. Like whenever you go to buy a go buying a laptop or a PC, you will need those specifications so that you are getting what you want. So before starting an EC2 instance, you must know what are your requirements, like how many CPUs you want, how much RAM you want, the storage type like SSD we have, HSD we have. So you all can configure in your EC2 instance. There is again security groups are nothing but virtual firewall. Like you have firewall in your laptop, so that will that will act as a security guard, I can say. Like whenever someone tries to connect with your laptop or your desktop, the firewall will check is this connection is allowed or not. Same thing with security group provide a security to your EC2 instance. It will check if this user or this user is allowed to connect with this application or not, your instance or not. And a last, key pair. Okay, so key pair is nothing but a password file to access your instance. It can be considered as your password file. It is so. See, here I am not talking in literal sense, but you can imagine key pair as a password file to access your instance. You use your password to access your computer. Okay, so uh, uh, there is like why you should use EC2. You can directly go to you know uh, uh, GoDaddy, and you can create a virtual server there also. Like yeah, you can go to uh, GoDaddy and go create a server there also. But what are the things which makes EC2 different from other traditional data centers? Okay, so the thing is, you can launch EC2 instance in few seconds. Like if you want EC2 instance right now, you can create EC2 instance of your any type. Like if you want a 3 GB, 300 GB RAM for your EC2 instance, you can create it in 5 seconds. That is why cloud is growing uh, abundantly. So okay, and the other thing is pricing. Like EC2 is based on second, and EC2 pricing is based on seconds and size of the instance. Like if you say I have used 10 seconds of EC2 today, then AWS will not charge you for the whole day. It will only charge you for the 10 second you used. There is nothing more to that. Okay, so uh, so that is the one more advantage of using the EC2 other than the traditional data centers we use. And there is scalability. Like if you want, like now I am running on a server of with 8 GB RAM, but now my requirement increased, and now I want 16 GB RAM. So if you want to increase those capacity, you can increase that capacity in few seconds with AWS. But if you are using traditional data centers, what will happen? You have to go physically to that data center. You will remove that 8 GB RAM chip from your data center. You have to buy a 16 GB RAM chip, and you will insert it, and then your machine will have a 16 GB chip. But using AWS, you can do it in few seconds. Okay, and there are some flexibility with operating system. Like if you go to any traditional data centers like GoDaddy and other hostingers, and if you want, like I want this particular operating system for my server, like you say like want Ubuntu 16.08, and they say like no, we do not serve this operating system. If you want that operating system, you have to buy a whole server, and buy a dedicated server that will be yours only, and then you can install. But in using this EC2 service, you can create your own operating system and deploy it in AWS. And there are some a few built-in security. that AWS provide, that is very beneficial for security purpose. Okay, so there are many types you know launch EC2 instance. There are on demand instance, like if like I have mentioned, like if you want EC2 to be hosted in few seconds, like you will go to AWS console and create click on launch instance. It is going to launch instance in few seconds. uh, okay, then there are reserved instance. Reserved instance are like, you know, you will plan it for a 1 year, like if you have requirement, like I am going to host my website at least for 1 year, then I am going to reserve my instance. So that will be, you know, like planning and like planning and saving, because you know when you reserve an instance, AWS is going to charge you less than on demand instance. Like if it's like, you know, if you are going to go, and if you plan your hotels, and prior to, you know, prior even 1 month or 2 months earlier, you will get a huge discount other than at the when you buy it on time. So that is that type of facility AWS provide. Then there is a spot instance. Spot instance are the, you know, are like a bidding kind of thing. Like those are the instance which are not dedicated to any of the user, that can be shared by all of the AWS user. So it's like, you know, like you will bid for that instance, like I want it instance for this amount, like $0.01 for 1 hour. So if somebody is going to bid higher than your price, then that instance will be allocated to that user. So these sport instance are, you know, very cheap, but the thing is, you cannot rely on them. But if that sport instance price goes above than your maximum price, then you will lose that instance, and you are going to have to restart your jobs. Okay, so those we use sport instance for all the, you know, unimportant jobs that can be done, or that are not very, you know, real important jobs. Okay, and and there is a dedicated instance. Dedicated instance means, see, AWS is going to provide you a EC2 instance, right? But it is not going to dedicate that whole hardware to you. They use some virtualization technology in which they will create a virtual computer and it will give to you. But if you say, like, I want a whole dedicated server with me, like no other user should use that hardware, then you can also host a dedicated instance, but it is going to cost you a fortune. Then are dedicated host. Dedicated hosts are uh, different, somewhat different than dedicated instance. It is all like, you know, it will reserve whole stack, you know, whole stack of that data center. So you will came to know about dedicated host and instance. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so let's get started with our hands-on session. Okay, so I okay, I request all of you to open your AWS console. Okay, so I hope you all have your AWS console with you. If please somebody acknowledgement that uh, that you all are having AWS console with you, or if you have any doubt, please ask before I start with hands-on. Okay, can somebody acknowledgement that I am audible? Okay, if you have any doubt, please write it in the chat box. We will see it later. Okay, then let's start with EC2. So if if you cannot see the fonts clearly, please let me know. Okay, first go to the EC2 home page. This will be your EC2 dashboard. Okay, one more thing I have to discuss. See, there are many regions available in AWS. See, you can see here, like North Virginia, Ohio. Uh, uh, there are some region from India like Mumbai, Hong Kong, and all. So the thing is, AWS pricing depends on region to region. Like if you are going to host EC2 instance in Mumbai and if you are going to host EC2 instance in North Virginia, the pricing will be different. So what you have to understand is you have to choose your region uh, very wisely. So like if you want a if you want very low latency, you will choose a region which is very close to your location. Like if I am right now I am in India, so I should use Mumbai, but for now I will be using North Virginia because we don't want any uh, low latency kind of requirement. So I use North Virginia because that's the cheapest one. If you region for EC2, like EC2 service is cheapest in North Virginia. So okay, here are the few things you can say, like all the statistics about the current instance, but there are no instance right now. I will be creating a fresh instance. Okay, so let's click launch instance. Okay, so here are the terms we talked about. We have to choose the Amazon machine AMI, that is the operating system for your machine. So there are many options here available. From the last year they started providing the Mac OS. Don't try to use it, you will require a dedicated host for that, and it is going to cost you fortune. Then there are Red Hat available. There is Windows available, there is Ubuntu available. There are much operating system available here. We are going to use Amazon Linux 2MI, that is optimized for the EC2 instance. Okay, then let's go with Amazon Linux 2. Now you have to choose the instance type, that is the hardware you want for your machine. So there are many families of hardware, that like here it is showing T2 micro. Like T2 family, it contains many of the instance type like T2 nano, T2 micro, T2 small, T2 large. All have different configuration, like number of CPUs, number GB of RAMs, like then storage type, this EBS we are going to discuss in this lecture later. Then network performance. Okay, so there are many availabilities of types of machine you are, like you can see here there are many families. So these families are you can relate, like if you want a general purpose instance, you are going to go with any of the T family with your requirement. If you want high computation, like high CPUs, then you are going to use C family. See here there are 2 to 8 CPUs for the C family. C stands for compute. If you want high computation, you will go for C. If you want more memory, like more RAM, you will go for M kind of M family instance. You can see here there are 15 GB of memory available for this instance. If you want high GPU, you will go for G instance. G stands for GPU. So you see there will be GPU available here. So you have to see they will going to provide NVIDIA grade GPU. Okay. So let's for now we are going to go with T2 micro because that is free tier eligible. It is not going to cost you anything. Okay. So let's move on. Here are some of the instance details you need to configure. First thing you need to configure is VPC, your network. So see this whole AWS architecture is based on VPC. You can create your network, and in the network you can create many subnets. From that, in that subnets you are going to launch your EC2 instance. If you are it's your account, if your account is new and you have not deleted the default VPC, you will find a VPC here. That is the default VPC comes with AWS. You don't need to create it. We are going to go with default VPC. So let's go with subnets. You can create, you can see there are 6 subnets available for this VPC. You can create as many subnets as you want in the range of CIDR block. Okay, so I am going to go with no preference. It is going to select any subnets randomly. Assign public IP. Yes, I am going to assign public IP to my instance. Okay, so there is one more thing. IAM role you need to see. IAM roles are the, kind of a user. Yeah, you have, like what are the IAM roles we discussed in our previous sessions. Okay, there is shutdown behavior. Like if you shut down your instance from the instance, what will happen? Like it should stop your instance or terminate your instance. Then here are some user, there is property user data. So see guys, you need to make a note, like a user data is like a script that runs whenever your instance start. Okay, whenever you launch an instance, like if I write here echo hello, sorry, go hello world, it is going to print echo hello world whenever the instance start. But as you know, after the instance start, I am not going to log in immediately, so I will be not able to see this message, but it will be displayed. So this is just an example. You can write anything, like if you want to install some software, you can write a script and paste it here, and it will be, whenever your instance start, it will be installed. So there are few benefits of this user data which you can use. Okay, so yeah, I think we have discussed most of the parameters here. Okay, see here is the uh, purchasing option for spot instance we talked about. Okay, and okay, let's go to storage. See here you are going to mention how much storage and what type of storage you want. Like here it is by default it is 8 GB. Like it is like I want 8 GB for my computer. Like if I do not want my instance that I am not going to store much data in my instance, I am going to go with 8 GB, because I am only going to use that instance for computation purpose. I am not going to use the storage, so I am going to go with 8 GB. You can specify anything you want. Okay, so and there is a volume type. It is like you use HHD and you use SSD. So you can find the performance difference between HHD and SSD. So you can specify here. So there is general purpose SSD. There is an upgraded version of it, that is GP3. There is, we use GP2 normally. There is another version GP3 which gives you higher performance. There is also provisioned iOS SSD. If you use this, you have to specify the input of output per second, input and outputs per second. You can specify, like if you are going to use networking very much, you have to if you want your like if you want fast communication, you are going, then you will need more inputs, input outputs per second. So you can specify using this IO1 type of volume, but we are going to go with general purpose. That will be a default 100 IOPS per second. Okay, then we are going to specify if you want your disk to be encrypted or not. We are going to go with not encrypted. Then add text. These are for for naming and purpose. You can use text to organize your instances. Please, if you have any doubt, please write in the chat box. Okay, now we are going to configure security group, that is the firewall. Okay, so let's name our security group to my first security group. Okay, so what I'm going to allow is SSH. So SSH is a protocol which you use to connect to your instance. It is like you use any desk or uh, uh, AnyDesk or RDP, remote desktop protocol, to connect to your Windows instance, right? So in backend, AnyDesk is using RDP to connect to your Windows instance. But as you know, we are creating a Linux instance. We cannot use RDP, so we are going to use SSH. The full form of SSH is secure shell. It is going to give us the command line access to our instance. Okay, we are going to add one more rule, that is HTTP. So if I'm going to host a website, I'm going to use HTTP. I am going to open HTTP port to public and SSH port to the public. Okay, let's start with see, these are the all the details we provided. Okay, let's launch our instance. We have talked about key pair. Key pair are nothing but the password file which you use to connect to your instance. I will going to give the name my key pair. Okay, I'm going to download that key pair because I'm going to need it to connect to my instance. Then I'm going to launch that instance. Okay, so our instance is launching. It will be launching in few seconds. If you have any doubt so far, please write it in the chat box. Okay, now I think we are ready to connect our instance. So there are, I'm going to teach you two ways to connect to our EC2 instance. The first is using Windows command prompt, and the second is using a third party client, uh, MOBA Xterm. MOBA Xterm is going to provide a SSH connection to the uh, our instance. Okay, so let's start with the connecting our instance. Okay, so first I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my file to my desktop. This will be my key pair. I am going to copy my file to my desktop. Okay, so this here is my key pair. Then I am going to launch my command prompt. Okay, so this is my command prompt. Okay, so what I am to what I have okay, just a second. Here is my command prompt. I'm going to change my directory to desktop as my uh, key pair is in my desktop. So I can list my key pair. See, here I can find my key pair. So what I'm going to next is, before using the key pair, we have to change its permissions. So we are going to go to, okay, is my screen visible? I don't think you can. Uh, 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 can you guys, can you see my screen, like all the font? Okay, let me use the magnifier. Okay, so okay, I hope my screen is visible. Okay, so we are going to change the properties of that file. Okay, so what we are going, okay, let me, yeah, okay. Okay, so what we are going to go is, first of us, we will disable the inheritance. Yes. Okay, okay, sorry, I made a mistake. We will again go. We will disable the inheritance. We will, okay. Now what we are going to do is remove the all the access from other than yourself. We will remove this system. We will remove administrator also. We are already going to uh, give access to yourself only. For me, my username is Pranav Bushra, so I am going to use that. Okay. Okay, so now we are good to go. Okay, so let me, okay, so let's open my command prompt. Okay, uh, so what will be the command for connecting your instance will be, you can copy the command from your console. You can go to the instance, right click that instance, connect. It is going to show, go to SSH client. It is going to show here the example how you can connect to your instance. I am going to copy this command from here, go to my console, paste my command. See, here you have to uh, make a point, like first thing, we are using SSH, so SSH then dash hyphen I used to specify our key pair, then the DNS name of the instance. You can use public IP of the instance, you can use DNS, anything you want. Okay, if you have no doubt, please ask it out in the chat box. Okay, we are going to connect to instance. See, it is going, okay, say yes. Now see, now I am connected to my instance. See, it is saying me Amazon Linux 2 AMI. As you know, we have configured it. Now I can do anything in my instance. This is just a demo how can you can use to how you can use SSH to connect to your instance using command, Windows command prompt. I hope I am clear. Okay, I think that will be all for this EC2 hands-on. Let's move on to our presentation. Okay, I closed it. Okay, so now let's move on with Elastic Load Balancer. So this is the one of the great service of AWS. It is Elastic Load Balancer. It basically does nothing but divide the load across the instances. Like if you can see here, like there are three instances and three user. If the first user requests a query to our instances, so it will be passed through the load balancer, and load balancer will allocate that query to the first instance. After that, if a second user arrives, he requests for a, it will be allocated to the second instance. Same way, it will be the load will be equally distributed to all the instances. Okay, so there that is the purpose of our load balancer. So we have discussed all of this. See, there are the few things load balancer provide. See, right now, if you create three EC2 instance, and in those three EC2 instances you have deployed the same thing. So if you want to request your first instance, you are going to use the DNS, means URL of that first instance, to connect with the first instance. For second instance, you have to go with second instance. But what load balancer provide is, it is going to provide you a single URL, that single DNS that you can use to connect with all the instance, and using that single URL, it is going to distribute all the uh, load of the to all the instance. Then it is going to provide high availability across the zone. Like you can create instance in one availability zone, second instance second, third in third, and it is going to distribute that load in all across three availability zone. Then you will get SSL 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 layer if you use load balancer. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, there are mainly four types of load balancer available right now in AWS. First is application load balancer, network load balancer, gateway load balancer, and classes load balancer. We are going to discuss only two load balancer, because that are the most used load balancer. That is application load balancer and network load balancer. Okay, so what is an application load balancer and when and why you use it. So whenever you want to distribute levels OSI level layer 7 traffic. Guys who are not familiar with much of the networking terms, you can consider it as like whenever you want to distribute HTTP or HTTPS traffics or the higher level traffic, you are going to use application load balancer. Okay, so there are many benefits, like it supports direct redirects to HTTP to HTTPS. Like if some user tries to connect with the HTTP, it will be automatically redirected to HTTPS. Okay, then network load balancer, uh, you use it to distribute OSI level 4 traffic. 4 traffics means it's the application load balancer is more abstract than network load balancer. You will get control over your request, much control over your request using network load balancer, because it's a low layered balancer. It works on layer 4, uh, while application load balancer works on layer 7. So it mainly works, this load balancer works on TCP and UDP. Uh, the latency of load balancer is lower than application load balancer. It can handle millions of requests per second. Okay, you will use network load balancer for for much higher efficiency and performance, but it is not included in AWS free tier, so we are not going to use it right now. Okay, let's get started with elastic load balancer. I hope you guys are uh, clear about the load balancer. If you have any doubts, please ask me in the chat box. Okay, let's go to EC2 dashboard. You can find load balancer down here. Okay, you can go. Okay, there is okay, what exercise we are going to say. So what we are going to do is we are going to create two EC2 instance. The first instance will have the home pages welcome to instance 1. The second instance will have home pages welcome to second instance 2. We are going to host a website in our EC2 instances. The first instance will have home pages welcome to instance 1, and second instance will have home pages welcome to instance 2. We will add both that instance to our elastic load balancer, and then we are going to use that load balancer URL, and then we are going to check if our load is balancing or not. Like if I go to that URL, then I can see that message like welcome to instance 1. But if I refresh it, like if I'm going to request it again, then I should get welcome to instance 2. So let's try it out. So first thing we need to do is create two EC2 instance. We will go to EC2 instance. Again we are going to launch an instance. We are going to use Linux 2 T2 micro. One thing we have to consider here is we are going to use user data, that is bootstrap script. That script will be executed whenever your instance launches. So here I have this script pre-written here. You can I have given the link of that script in the description box. You can use that script and move on with your exercise. I'm going to paste my user script. I'm going to explain what this script is going to do. Okay, let's add storage, keep it as default. Let's add tags, keep it as default. Security group, we are going to use the existing security group we used before, that is my security group. Okay, that is going to allow me port 80. Then we will going to review the and launch that instance. Okay, I'm going to launch that and choose my security group. I am going to use my old security keeper, that is my key pair. I'm going to launch that instance. Please ask me any doubt if you have any so far. Okay, I'm going to rename the web server 1. This is my first instance. I'm going to right click. Okay, okay, okay. Let's start with, let's launch another instance with the same configuration: AMI Linux 2 T2 micro. We are going to add the same bootstrap script here. Okay, okay. Add storage, keep it default. Security groups, same, my security group. Again launch instance, launch the same key pair. Okay, okay. So now we have launched the two instance. I'm going to rename the instance to web server 2. Okay, now my two instance is launching. Let's check if my web server 1 is launched or not. See, I'm going to use this public IP to check if my HTTP web server is running or not. See, yeah, it's showing me the message hello world from this. So this is the instance ID of my instance. You can find, see, the instance ID is A84 at the last. See here, A84. Now for the second instance, going to copy the public IP of the second instance. Check. Okay, it's not launched yet. Wait for a few seconds till it's get launched. Okay. See, okay, my both of my instances are launched. One ending with 825, one ending with 884. Okay, so these are the two instances which are launched successfully. Okay, let me you guys will be confused with what my bootstrap script is doing. So whenever the instance launches, it is going to execute these few commands. So this first command is yum update. Yum is nothing but a package manager. It is going to update its repository. Then we are going to yum install httpd. It is nothing but an http server. It is going this this is a very lightweight http server which you use to host simple website. So it is going to install our server. Then I am going to fetch my instance id. So see, this is the url you use to get the information about your instance. So I'm going to fetch my instance id. I'm going to store it in my variable instance id. Then I'm going to echo that message to my index.html file like hello world from this instance. Then I'm going to start my service and enable it. Okay, I hope you guys are clear what this script is going. Don't focus on this much. This is just if you guys are familiar with Linux commands, you can understand this. Don't have to worry much about this. Let's now our instance are launched successfully. We are going to go to a load balancer. Let's create a load balancer. We are going to use application load balancer, as we cannot use network load balancer because it does not come with a free tier. Let's create an application load balancer. We are going to name it my load balancer. It will be an internet facing load balancer. Then it is going to handle HTTP traffic that will be on port 80. My availability zones, in which availability zones I want to load my traffic. I am going to select all of it because I don't remember which my instances are launched in which instance. Okay, so Yeah, I hope you have understood. Okay, let's add security groups. Again, we are going to configure security groups. As you know, it acts like a firewall. We are going to use our existing security group. That will be my first security group. Okay, so this security group will allow me to allow HTTP traffic, then routing. So see, what you have to remember is whenever you create a load balancer, it is going to distribute the load across the instances, and those instances should be in a target group. So we are going to create a new target group. We are going to name it my target group. Okay, what will be the target type? That will be instance, because we are going to uh, make a group of instances, and that will be our target group. Which protocol I am using? AT, because we are hosting a web server. Health check, those you can configure it. Okay, now we are going to register our targets. See, there are three instances available. One we used to for EC2 demo, but these two web server. So what we are going to? We are going to register these two web server as our target. So a target of our load balancer. Okay, so we have added it here. Okay, okay, then next review our settings. Okay, now I'm going to create my load balancer. Okay, let's wait for load balancer to be created. If you have any doubt so far, please ask it in the chat box. Okay, as I mentioned, like we are load balancer provide us the single URL to access all of our instance. So this will be our the single URL that we are going to use to access both of our server. Let's wait for few seconds. Now it's provisioning. Okay, okay. See, my load balancer is launched successfully. I copied this URL, my DNS name of the load balancer. I pasted it in my browser. See, now if I'm going to refresh it, see, you can see there is a change in the instance name whenever I refresh my browser. So we can see that our load is balanced between those two instances. Every request is distributed. Okay, so I I hope you all of you are getting this. Is anybody is trying to do this exercise with me? Please acknowledge. And are you getting the result that I am getting? No, Jaisha. Okay, now we are completed with our exercise. Let's move on. Okay, so here are the two main benefits of cloud computing, that is scalability and high availability. So scalability is nothing as we discussed, like we can scale our instances, we can scale down our instances anytime we want. Okay, and availability means high availability is like you can consider it as an uptime. Like if you say my website uptime is 99.99%, like during the day it is going to only go down for 0.001%. Okay, so that is high availability, means your user will never face any issue with connecting to your services. So that is high availability. So let's start with scalability. So there are two types of scalability. The one is vertical scalability and one is horizontal scalability. So by vertical scalability, I mean like when you increase the size of your machine, like I said, if you are using 8 GB RAM in your instance, and now your requirement is 16 GB RAM, then you go to your instance and try to change your instance type to much higher than 8 GB, then you are going to use uh, vertical scalability. And okay, so here I given the example, like right now you are using T2 micro instance, then after that your requirement increases and you change that instance type to T2 large, then that will be a vertical scalability. Okay, so and horizontal scalability means you are increasing the number of instances. Like right now I am balancing my web server with two instances, as we have seen. But my if my load increases, if my demand increases, then I am going to need more than two instances. So what I am going to do is I am going to increase the number of instances, and I am going to register all those instances to my uh, target group. Then my load balancer will going to distribute traffic to all the instances in the target group, right? Like right now I have two instances in my target group, then I add four more, then my load balancer is going to distribute all the traffics into those six instances. So that will be your horizontal scalability. Okay, I hope you are getting what I am saying. High availability we already discussed. There are some few terms, like you can say my service is highly available if you have deployed the service in the two availability zones. See, in AWS, availability zones are the two different physical locations. So if if for due to a natural disaster, one of the availability zone goes down, but your second availability zone is still fine, and your service will be uh, uh, still up. So that will be, you can say that your service is highly available. It is, it can face the this kind of disaster and this kind of technical issue or any kind of thing. Okay, so let's move on to the auto scaling group. Okay, so we have seen the target group. That is just a few group of few instances which our load balancer balance distribute the load. But there is another service of AWS, that is auto scaling. So what is going to provide is as I discussed with you, like increasing the size of the instance and increasing the number of instance. So right now we are going to do it manually. I am going to go to the instance launch, click on the launch instance, uh, do all the things and register it in the target group. But what if we want it automated? Okay, so like auto scaling group is very beneficial service. Like you can see, like amazon.in, whenever there is a sale, the number of requests will be increased. So what are they going to do is they are going to create a auto scaling group. That auto scaling group will automatically increase the capacity of their servers, so they can tolerate this amount of load. Okay, I hope you are getting what I am saying. Okay, so like there is a high load during the Valentine's in hotel bookings and gifts and all kind of things. High load during Diwali time, so so the Amazon is going to increase their servers. Uh, okay, See, there are the few parameters you need to consider during configuration of auto scaling groups. Like you are going to specify the minimum size of your capacity, your desired capacity, that will be your current capacity, like and your maximum capacity. Okay, so it is going to expand and shrink according to that. I can share here scale in and scale out. Scale out means expanding your capacity, scale in means decreasing your capacity. Okay, so and if we are using auto scaling group, we should use a load balancer to distribute our traffic to all the instances. Like auto scaling groups and load balancer go hand in hand. Okay, we are going to create this kind of scenario in our hands-on session. Okay, so before we start with auto scaling group, these are the few terms you need to understand before creating a auto scaling group. First, we are going to check the launch configuration of the instance. Launch configuration is nothing but the you know a template kind of thing for the instance. Okay, like if you want like I want a T2 micro instance that runs on Amazon Linux 2. It should have 8 GB of RAM, then 8 GB of storage, this security group, and it should be launched with this security keeper. So we are not going to actually launch the instance, but we are going to create a template, and that template we can reuse every time we want to launch, and whenever we want to scale or scale out our capacity. Okay, and mean, max, and desired capacity we already discussed. Network and subnet information, in which network or in which subnet you have to deploy your auto scaling group or deploy your instances. We have to configure the load balancer and the scaling policy. Listen guys, scaling policy is very much important, because we are going to configure it, and we are using the scaling policy, you are going to scale in and scale out the instances. Okay, so there are three kinds of scaling policy we are going to discuss. One is target scaling policy, that is nothing, and but you are going to use any one of the metrics to as your base, and you are going to set like if the CPU average CPU usage of all the instances is I should maintain like if you want your average CPU usage of all the instances to 80%, it is going to add more instances uh, as far as your instance capacity is not up to 80%. Like right now my instance, my average CPU usage is 40%. It is not going to add an instance. But if I face some internet traffic, and it is going to my average CPU usage increase to 95%, then it is going to add more instances. My auto scaling group is going to add more instances to my group, as it is going to add more instances so far that my average CPU utilization becomes 80%. I hope you are understanding. Then there is a step scaling policy. It is just a simple policy. You are going to create an alarm in CloudWatch, and whenever this alarm is triggered, you are going to add your instances and remove your instances. There is also schedule scanning, schedule scaling. That is means if you want like I want to increase my capacity during 10 to 6 PM on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Then auto scaling group is going to automatically launch more instances during that period of time. Okay, let's start it with auto scaling groups. Go to your AWS console. You can find auto scaling groups here. From there, please ask any doubts in the chat box if you have any. So okay. Okay, let's go with create auto scaling group. We will name our auto scaling group my auto scaling group. Okay. Okay, launch template as we discussed. I do not have any launch template right now. We are going to create a launch template. Okay, let's start creating a launch template. We have to specify all the things which we specified during the time of uh, the instance creation. Let's name my template version not required. Which OS my template is going to use Amazon Linux 2. Which instance I want to launch. I will be using T2 micro as it is free tier eligible. Which key pair should I use? Okay, network information, like which VP, in which VP should my uh, load balancer should be deployed. My security group, I am going to select my existing security group. Okay, storage volume, keep it as default 8 GB, that is sufficient for us. Advanced detail, okay, in advanced detail scroll down and you are going to add the user data as the script we mentioned. Okay, so here is the script. I am going to copy my user script here and to paste it. Okay, so I think we have configured most of the things here. Don't forget to add the security group. Okay, scroll down, create a launch template. Okay, now our launch template is successfully created. Refresh it, you will find your launch template here. Okay, see your key pair, your security groups. Now next, okay, use your this will be your network in which we are going to deploy our instances. Subnets, we are going to select all these subnets. Okay, so my auto scaling group will automatically create instances any one of these subnets. Then next, yes, we will be using a load balancer, so we will attach a new load balancer. Name of the load balancer, my auto scaling group 1. Our load balancer will be of application load balancer type. It will be an internet facing load balancer. Please make a note here. We are going to use all the availability zones. Yes, my load balancer will be facing HTTP traffic. So okay, so yeah, I think we have configured most of it here. Okay, so health checks, we are also going to select ELB. See, when a health check means, see, I told you guys like average, we are going to use any one of the metrics for our auto scaling policies. Like I given you the example of average CPU utilization. So if which type of metrics I want, only for the EC2 or also for the ELB. If I am going to use ELB, then I am also then I can also measure the traffic in terms of average CPU utilization of my load balancer. Okay, so I am going to tick ELB. No need, that is not a required thing. Then next, and there is something we missed. Okay, we need to create a target group. We are going to name a target group. Okay, sorry, I forgot that. Okay, next, okay, here we are going to specify the desired capacity, how much instances we want. Let's say we want 2, minimum capacity will be 1, maximum capacity will be 3. So whenever I am going see, whenever this auto scaling group is going to be launched, it is going to create a 2 instance of the launch type. We specified the launch template we made. Scaling policy, we are not going to select any scaling policy right now. I am going to show you it afterwards. Okay, then next, okay, no need to add notification, no need to add tags. Okay, now we have configured most of things. Let's create a auto scaling group. I hope you have no doubt so far. If you have no doubt, please write it in the chat box. Okay, now see, our auto scaling group is launching. You can go to load balance target groups and load balancer to check if they are being launched or not. See, this target group is automatically created by our auto scaling group. There should be an load balancer. See, there is one more load balancer created automatically. Okay, let's check, and you can also go to the instance. You can, if you can see, there will be two instances that will be launching. See, here are the two instances uh, which are launched by auto scaling group. Okay, so uh, see, this is a signal that our auto scaling group is launched successfully. We will go to our target group, check the targets, the health. See, they are initializing right now. Please ask any doubt. Okay, we can see now our instance, both of our instances are in healthy condition. Okay, now we can go to our load balancer. We can select the load balancer URL. You can see that. Okay, now uh, okay, you can see that our load balance is working fine because it is showing me two instance ID that are deployed, that is 912 and ending with FBA. Okay, this is 912. We can see here that our auto scaling group is working fine. You can experiment with the load balancer, auto scaling group, by terminating any of the instances. If we are going to terminate these instances, terminate both of the our instances, and as we have specified the minimum capacity of the instances is 1, so our auto scaling group is going to launch the instance automatically. Okay, so now our these two instances are stopping. You can you can see our service is temporarily unavailable right now, but we should but our instances will be launching soon, as we have specified minimum target minimum capacity to 1. So let's wait for a few minutes, and it is going to launch one more instance. So here there are no registered targets because we have terminated both of the instance. Let's wait for a few seconds. In meantime, you can ask any doubt, please. Okay, okay, you can see our third instance is launched automatically. So we can see our auto scaling group is working fine. In few seconds it will be up and we can again uh, access our web server, but yeah, it will be accessible in few seconds. Okay, now this server is running. We should be able to, let's check our target group. Okay, it's saying it's initializing. Let's wait to become it healthy. Okay, now it's healthy. We can refresh. Okay, now see, this will be the instance ID of the new instance just created by the auto scaling group. See. Okay, so I hope you are getting the same result as I am. Please ask any doubt you have. Okay, uh, one more thing I have to show to you is the scaling policy. Okay, so go to the auto scaling group. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can configure the scaling policy. So it is going to scale in and scale out according to your requirements. Go to automatic scaling, add a policy, as you know, target tracking policy. So we discussed it. So our average target value will be 50%. So that means that I want my average CPU utilization to be 50%. Okay, so if my CPU utilization goes above the 50%, and my current instance my current number of instances less than the maximum number of instance, then it is going to add new instances. And if my CPU utilization goes down to 50 percentage, and my current instance is higher than my minimum capacity, then it is going to terminate some of the instances, and it will going to maintain average CPU utilization to 50%. Sorry. Okay. Let's create a scaling policy. It is simple. Actually, we cannot test this scaling policy here, but I am just showing you for the sake of clarity. You can also check step scaling policy. We are going to first we need to create a cloud alarm, but that is out of scope of this session, so we are not going to use that. But I'm going to show you like whenever this alarm triggers, you are going to add 2 or 3 instances. You can add one more step in which you can set like remove 2 or 3 instances or anything you want. Okay, I hope you are getting. Okay, let's move on with our other task. Okay, so this will be our last topic as we do not have much time left. So let's move quickly. So EBS volume, we created this EBS volume during the time of our EC2 exercise. So we created it. We are going to check it in details about this. Okay, so it you can consider EBS as your hard disk, but it is very different than your traditional hard disk. It is not you know physically attached to your EC2 machine. It is going to connect. It is going to connect your machine using a network. It is a kind of a network drive. Okay, so you may face some communication issue due to network. Okay, and the thing is, you are going to build it as you use it. It is not very it is very cheap service, EBS. Okay, you can increase the volume of the EBS as you want. You can increase it to terabytes in few seconds. Okay, so that is highly scalable. Okay, There are four categories of EBS volumes. Some of them are we already discussed. GP2 that we use for general purpose, which is recommended for most of the workloads. IO1 we use it for highly critical business application that requires sustained IOPS performance. Like you want like 5,000 IOPS. If you want performance of 5,000 IOPS, then you are going to use that type of EBS volume. Then there is ST1, that is low cost HSD. HSD means the magnetic disk we normally use in our PCs or robot that are very slow in term of performance. There is another uh, uh, SC1. There we are not going to take more than 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, let's start with EBS hands-on. Okay, so okay, don't do attendance. Okay, right now. Okay, so we are going to go to elastic block store. There are two things here: EBS volumes and EBS snapshots. Okay, so EBS volumes are the actual hard disk, and EBS snapshot will be the image file or the backup of that volume. Okay, you can create a backup of any of the volumes and make a snapshot of it, and you can regenerate your whole EBS volume anytime you want and any copies you want. So as you can see, there are four volumes right now in my console because I have my four instances running using my EBS. Five instance running, and you can see five volumes. See, there are five instance running. Okay, here are my five instance. Okay, so these are the uh, uh, volumes of those instances. Okay, now I'm going to create a new volume. You can use this volume as a kind of a flash drive or pen drive. We are going to create a GP2. Our availability zone will be anything you want. Okay, let's go with the instance we want to connect it. Let's say if we are going to connect with our first instance, we are going to check the availability zone of that instance. Okay, it's my availability zone is US East 1E. So I'm going to create my volume in this drive. Do I have to create my instance from an existing volume from an existing snapshot? No, I don't want it. Do I have to want encryption? No, I don't want it. You can create volume. It is simple. It will be created. Now this will be the newly created instance, my EBS. Okay, now to use this instance we have to attach this volume to my instance. To use this EBS volume, we are going to attach it. So we are going to attach it to my first instance. Okay, so it will be attached in this it will be mounted in this device. Okay, I'm going to attach it. Okay, status is in use. Let's connect to my first instance. Let's see if my drive is attached or not. Okay, so I have shown you the one way to connect to your instance, that is using Windows command prompt. The second way and the easy way is using EC2 instance connect. This is the most simplest one and the most easy way, because it is going no, you will not require anything. You will have just to click the connect button, and you can connect to your instance using your browser itself. See, now I am connected to my instances. I can fire all the commands here. Okay, now I am going to list my hard drives. Okay, see, uh, See, there are this many file system available. Okay, I cannot see my file system right now. Let me reboot my instance. I think I forgot to reboot my instance. Okay, let's reboot instance. Okay, there is one thing you also need to understand. You can terminate any instance from here, like you can select the instance, go to instances, reboot them, terminate it. Please terminate each of these instance, terminate, delete all the auto scaling groups, all the elastic load balancers uh, after completion of this session. Okay. Okay, I think my instance is rebooted. Let's try connecting it. Okay, it's not rebooted successfully, right? Okay. Please ask any doubt if you have faced so far the session. Okay, now I can see. Now my instance is rebooted. I am using df-h command to list all the. Okay, so it's not here. Okay, I think we have missed something, but let's check. Okay, okay, guys. See here, I can find my disk, that is the 7 GB I created, the one that is 8 GB that we used, and this one is the 7 GB EBS volume we created and attached to this system. Okay, there are few commands uh, you use to add this to your file system. That is sudo file dash hyphen ash n dev, then the name of your file system, it is xvdf. Okay. Okay, now this is successfully attached. Now we can use this, and yeah, we can. Okay, still it's not okay, no problem. But I think we got the idea, like how to attach the EBS volumes. Okay, so I think this will be the end of the session. Use this link to uh, do your attendance. Please ask any doubt so far. I am here for few minutes. Please let me know if this link is not working or any kind of thing. If you face any issue. Can somebody acknowledgement if the link is working or not? Hello, can anybody acknowledgement? Okay then. Okay guys, if you have any doubts, please write in the chat. I think we are so over the time. Thank you all for your patience. See you all tomorrow. And please like this video. Okay, you can connect me via my LinkedIn page that is given in the description box. Thank you guys.